Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to get this 317 fired back up. It has not run in about 3 years. Actually, the last time it ran was I was running it some, and then I had an electrical issue. It wouldn't turn over, so I just ignored it, and it has not run in a few years. I did try last year to get it running with no success. I was able to get it to fire on ether, but that was it. That was over in the other building. I've brought it over here now, and we are going to actually get it running again. I would like to do some tilling with this summer. Throttle still moves. Choke still moves. And this is a low hour original, or lower. It's got 853.4 original hours on it. Completely original paint, tires, tiller. I did replace the PTO, but other than that, to my knowledge, it's pretty darn original. So we're going to try and get this thing fired back up today and take it out and till with it this spring. We won't be tilling with it in this video by any means at all. It's super muddy right now. It's been raining for the last few days. So we'll just drive it around. But I never did a service on it, so we will have to do a service once we get it running, and then we can play with it. I went and picked this battery up for it today. Not cheap, for those of you who was wondering, but necessary if you want to get the old rig running. I decided that I'd rather have a battery in it than switching it back and forth from 14 different tractors like I normally do. Got a key in it, so I will show you what it does or does not do. That's all we've got. It will not start on gas. I did rebuild the carb when I first got it and got it running, but not yet. So my guess is we probably just need to get fuel up to the carb, and hopefully then it'll run. So let's get right on that. I am going to stick the hose in the fuel tank and try and pressurize it some to force fuel forward. I'm just going to go ahead and be lazy and not crack the fuel line yet. See if we can be successful the lazy way first. Alright, I am going to pop the air filtration system off of here. We're wet with fresh gas. That means I've got it starting to prime up. Might just need to keep trying, see what it does. Yep, that seems like it's enough. Definitely not. Okay, see if we got sparkles. We do. It is rough. I'm going to get these plugs out and cleaned up, put them back in, then we'll try it again. Both plugs are equally as batter. Let's clean these up and see if they work. They're cleaned her upper. Much better. Missing some of their protective coating there. Gonna ignore that and use them anyway. Alright, plugs are cleaned and replaced back in the block. Let's see if it'll start. Huh. We're getting gas, smells like. I'll be dead. Let's find out how many voltages we have in the battery, in the lightning stick. 12.5. Okay, that thing points. Here's the 12.5. Oh. 9.8. Okay, that means we're not getting full voltage from the points. All right, we now have 12.5 volts to the coil. Let's see if we have spark now. Still no. Rat. That's not what I wanted to see. So I went to put the points cover back on, and well, that's not supposed to happen. So let's replace that wire and see if that helps our issue. It might have just been we weren't getting voltage to it. All right, let's try it once more. Oh, hook up the battery might help. Oh. It might be a little better. Not enough for my liking. I'm going to check the adjustment on the points. All right, well, we still don't have great spark, but I'm gonna hit it with some happy cider here and see if she pops off. When I remember to hook up the battery. I can see the points sparking, so that's working. I do not know what the deal is. We might just have to replace this coil. When I turn this over, watch them points. You see them sparkling. So the points are working. We have spark, just not enough to fire apparently. These points and condenser are brand new as of several years ago when I bought this. I put a bunch of work into it to get it running. New points, condenser, rebuilt the carb. But for some reason this thing does not want to hit off. It would fire off on ether last summer when I played with it. I don't know what its problem is over here. Maybe I'm just not getting enough ether. We might try a different can. Well, this can doesn't have any in it either, apparently. But we're going to give it another whirl. So, let's see if it'll pop now. I smelled ether all over the place. It should have fired on that. So I think our next step is going to have to be some plugs and perhaps a coil. I've done some other tinkering and my plugs are firing and they seem to be getting a good spark. So I'm thinking it's got to be a fuel delivery issue. Ether should be getting in there, but it's not. So I'm going to pull the carburetor off. And we're going to go through it again and hope that that fixes it. Alright, so I've popped this carb off. It's a little dirty inside, but this side is way dirtier. I don't hear anything moving in the bowl, but it feels heavy enough that it has something in the bowl. So let's find out what it is. This tractor's out with no gas in it for a little while. I'm pretty sure anyway. It might have still had some left in the carb. Oh yeah. Yummy, yummy. Guys, I rebuilt this carb a few years ago, and I don't think I put an hour on this tractor. Wowzers. I thought I rebuilt this car, but maybe I was wrong, because that's a lot of dirt. Man alive, guys. Wowzers. Screwdriver won't fit in there. Let's count. What turns is it? Half, 1, half, 2. I'm at 2 1/4 on high idle. Pop that out of there. And I'm at, and oh my, half, 1, oh, I'm at 1 on the idle jet. So 1 and 2 1/4. Pop this out of here. Wowzers, guys, I can't believe how dirty this carburetor is. Man alive. Look at that slime. Wow. Guess I'll get some carb cleaner and do this thing a favor. Good thing I picked me up some cheap ass carb clean today. Picked it up for a different project though. Clean it up pretty easy. Carb clean is awesome. It does work magic. I'm telling you. Still getting a little bit of dirty out. Not near as much as we were though. Holy cheese and rice. Wow. Needs some updating. Float isn't loaded. That's good. Wowzers. Cannot believe just how dirty this thing is. Much better than it was. I'll wipe it out. Also, alright, that's much cleaner. Get these jets. The end of my needle bent just the tiniest little bit. That means I should replace it. Let me see if I have one over there that matches. Alright, so I do not have a jet that matches this. So I tried to straighten it a little bit and I'm just going to use it. I don't have much other choice without buying more parts. Which I don't want to do yet. High idle jet. And it was 2 1/4, if I recall correctly. So half, 1, half, 2 1/4. Now I'm going to put the low idle jet in. And you don't want to use a screwdriver on these. You just want to go in till they bottom out with fingers and stop. Because if you use a screwdriver, that's how you bend them, like the main jet in mine was. You just want to go finger snug. You'll feel it bottom out. Half, 1. That's what it was turned out previously. I'm still getting some dirt on the end of this here. Probably set it in some. Ooh, that's plugged. Oh, that's not something that needs to be not plugged, so that's good. We seem to be much better off now. Okay, so I want the needle up in the seat. Oh boy, wowzers, that's tight. I'm going to replace that needle and seat because that's kind of snug. All right. So those parts can go away, and that I pulled the old one out already. Put the new one in. And for those of you who wonder how you get one of these in or out when they're tight, because it is very tight space, I use a 1/4 inch 6-point 10mm socket. That's the only socket that I have found that'll fit, and it's still tight with this. Don't tell me it's stripped. Okay, it's not, but I'm not going to strip it, that's for darn sure. Okay, so now I have the little pull down doodabby, so I can hook that on the float like that. Set that in there. Come on now. Go in your home. Thank you. Put my float pin in. Oh, with my big ass Sasquatch fingers. There we go. And now we're working correctly. This is not a new seal. I do not have one out here, but it's a seal that I took out of a different carburetor, and it still seemed good to me, so I hung on to it. And I didn't use it in the other carb because I wanted it completely rebuilt. For our purposes here, it'll work. I'll have to order up some more carb kits, but for the time being, it'll work just fine. Would you please thread in there? That would be awful nice, I guess. Thank you. Tighten up the float bowl, good and tight. Is she the cleanest she could be? Nope. Could have ultrasonicked it, be better off, but for our purposes, it'll do fine. So let's throw it on the tractor and see if it'll start now. Carb reinstalled. Now, let's see if we can get it to start now. Get it cranking over, and it's going to take a bit because it's going to have to pump up the carburetor and fill it with fuel. but I'm going to choke it. Hopefully it'll help pull some in. Check the oil already and it is full. So let's go for it. We're going to try to give it some huffing juice. Now let's see if it'll fire. Alright, I put a little bit of ether right in the spark plug hole. Let's see if we can blow our eardrums out or something. Nothing still. What the heck? The sparkulator was dry. I just don't understand nothing. Okay, so we're going into town tomorrow. I'm just going to pick up some new spark plugs and we'll go from there. Alright, so I just put new plugs in it. I just put some gas in the carb and tried to prime the fuel pump. We're going to see if it takes. If it's going to start, then that's fine. If it doesn't start, got me a new can of starting fluid, and we'll go that route. But I'm hoping that it'll try and fire up just like this. So, without too much further ado, let's give it a whirl. Well, it wants to go. I've got stuff's just everywhere falling down. It's about time. Here. I'm going to turn that out another quarter turn because that did seem a little on the low side and it's not wanting to run without choke. Let's see if it'll start back up. Give her a touch more oomph. And a touch more oomph. I'm getting the feeling that the pump ain't pumping because it's acting like she ran out of fuel. So I'll have to figure that part out. But we're getting close now. Now that I have forced fuel through the tank, and there's gas everywhere on top of the engine, let's go ahead and do the right thing and try and start it. We should be loading up the carb, so it should be getting ready to start here anytime. I'm over here pressurizing the tank to force gas up into the pump and the carb. So hopefully we can get a little bit of something happening here pretty soon. Okay, so I'm going to try and start it, give it a little throttle and actually choke it. So she's finally started and idling now. I smell lots of mouse house, so we'll just go ahead and ignore that for now. Tools are falling everywhere. That seems fine also. Let's see. They did not make these for Sasquatches. I cannot get my meat mitts in here to get this. There we go. These valves should work. Yup. Killer's up. We got forwardage and reversage. Should be warm enough to behave. All right, I'm gonna clean up some tools and then we're gonna see if it'll restart. All right, got some stuff cleaned up, see if it fires off. Well, that's not good, but it started. Nope. Right there is where it likes to be. Try and adjust that a little bit. I guess now it's time to put this sucker back together, and then come morning we can get it out of here, and this project will be a wrap. Alright guys, it's the next morning. It's cold out here. It's like 40 degrees. Let's see if this will start. Let's fire up the tiller. Alright guys, well that's a wrap for this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and I will catch you on the next one.